Hi guys, this is Krivly again with another pen review, and today we're looking at a Sailor pen, and we're not even looking at only one Sailor pen, we're looking at, yes, two Sailor pens, because this is going to be again a comparative overview or a comparative pen review. Guys, I've noticed recently on my channel and also in email response and on Instagram and all that these comparative reviews seem to be quite useful for you. I've done a couple of those for now. For instance, recently I've compared the Sailor ProGear to the Sailor ProGear Slim. I've made an overview video of the Pelikan Sovereign series. I, for instance, compared the Pilot Capless or Vanishing Point to the Pilot Decimo, and it seems to me that, and that's the feedback that I get, that those comparative reviews of kinda related pens or pens in a similar, size or kinda similar models seems to be quite useful to you, because of course I could review just the ProGear and I could review just a ProGear Realo right here, but how would you know from those two different reviews how these pens would compare to each other? And I think that's a question that many people ask themselves. Hey, should I buy a Realo or should I buy a regular ProGear? Many thanks to La Couronne du Comte, one of my long-standing sort of like pen companies or like retailers that support Scribbly right here, and they also assisted me in bringing this comparative review right here to you. So thanks much to La Couronne du Comte. A very quick one on the packaging, because the Sailor packaging is always the same. Here, as said, we look at the ProGear Realo black gold trim fountain pen with a 21 karat gold fine nib. Sailor packaging, pen rests in here, La Couronne du Comte. That's where the pen comes from. And then you get a nice little booklet with all kind of information here. But that shouldn't concern us too much for now, because what we want to do is have a comparative overview of those two pens. The Sailor ProGear standard size, not the Slim, that's the regular Sailor ProGear, black with chrome trim. This is a cartridge converter filling pen, and it fills with proprietary Sailor cartridges or a proprietary Sailor converter. And this pen at La Couronne du Comte, great price, retails for around €300, 21 karat gold nib. This has a fine nib, as has this as well. And this here is, and I can then also show you of course the difference between gold and chrome trim, which is kind of nice. This is the Sailor ProGear Realo. There is no Slim Realo, as there is a Slim here. There is only a regular size Realo. Realo means piston filler, ink window here. No proprietary whatever, because piston filler. And also a 21 karat gold nib, also in fine. This pen costs at La Couronne du Comte €400. So you're looking at a price difference of €100 for getting a piston filler. Is it worth it to pay a fourth more just for getting a piston filler? That's up to you guys. There's small differences in design, and I'm going to look at those now. And then it's up to you to judge it. I don't know if it's worth the price. A piston filler is cool. Do you want to pay €100 more for it? As said, up to you. But let's look at the pens. First of all, that is the difference in between a chrome trim and a gold trim Sailor. That's maybe nice to have a look at, just in case you can't decide, oh, should I get a chrome trim pen or should I get a gold trim pen? Here you have an impression of what a gold trim versus a chrome trim pen looks like. I like them both. I always have been more of a chrome trim person. I do start liking and appreciating gold trims more and more those days. The pens, of course, otherwise are very, very similar. I'm going to do a size comparison in a bit, a more thorough size comparison, but I think you can already get a hunch that the Realo, the piston filler, is just a tad longer. The caps are pretty much the same. There is a difference in the finial. That difference being that on the regular ProGear, the finial is kind of... the camera is not focusing right now. Now it's focusing. Sorry, let me get that right for you. The finial is kind of exposed. This is a metal finial against a background. Trying to get that camera to focus. It's not always that easy. I think now you can see it. You can definitely feel that standing out here. So it's kind of exposed. On this pen here, on the Realo, on the other hand side, and I think you can clearly see the difference right here. It's not a etched in kind of relief exposed finial. And now you see it pretty well. It's just printed on. Which I find a little bit of a pity, because like that definitely looks less quality than that here, and that pen is €100 more expensive. And I'm also not sure if that at some point, I mean, you know, there is some kind of like, it goes in a little bit. So it's not only printed on, it's like sort of like etched in and then filled with that gold color. But I can totally see that gold color coming off over time, and then you basically just have a black etched in kind of thing, which you probably won't really notice anymore. So I find that here just a lot cooler. That's one difference between the two. The next difference, if we align those pens right here, of course, otherwise here lengthwise and all that, they're the same so far, is the ink window. The regular ProGear doesn't have an ink window because it's a cartridge converter filled pen, and I'm opening them up in a bit as well. And the Realo does have an ink window. This ink window, of course, is like a genius construction. I have Hiroshizuki Tsuki Yo in here because having the pen closed, you can still see the ink level in here. And that is, of course, a strike of genius, because you don't have to undo the cap in order to see how much ink is left, as you have to do, for instance, with some of the Pelikan pens and basically any other pen that does have an ink window, Lamy 2000, and you name them. You have to unscrew them in order to determine how much ink is left. Not so with the ProGear Realo, which is pretty cool. Let me line them up again, sort of. And now we go down the barrel, and then you see, as said, that the ProGear Realo is a little bit longer than the ProGear. It's not much, as you can see right here. It's probably half a centimeter, if at all, 4 millimeters or something like that. And that is quite likely so that you have a little bit more grip to operate the piston turning knob right here, because this here is the piston turning knob. And of course the cartridge converter filled pen does not have a piston turning knob. But overall, since it's like then a little bit more torpedo shaped here, it does take away a wee bit of the flat top design that very many people like the ProGear for so much. So there is a little bit of a, you know, I don't know if you can call it a design trade-off, because like, of course, that is like has its own design aesthetic and characteristic. It's kind of nice still, but as you can see right here, the pen does become a bit longer, as we said, by about half a centimeter, and there's like a bit of a difference in design and aesthetic. Let's uncap the pens. There's, by the way, also a difference. They uncap with a different amount of turns, less on the ProGear. On the ProGear it is 1 3/4 turns, I would say. Yeah, 1 3/4 turns. On the Realo, it's going to be more. 1 3/4. Cap still sits. 2 1/4. 2 1/4 turns versus 1 3/4 turns. So more right here. And you also do see that when we uncap the pens and when we look at them, the threading is different. There is more threading on here. You can barely see it, but that's what it's basically, what is responsible for this half a turn more. And you also see inside the caps that the threading sits differently, which of course does have to do with the piston filling mechanism. The inner caps are sort of the same, do a very good job in preventing the nibs from drying out. The caps otherwise are the same, but as you have, apart from of course the finial differences that I've pointed out, but as you have now, again, you see the difference between gold and chrome trim. And of course, as you have seen from the different threading, these caps are then not interchangeable. So you can't use the Realo cap on a ProGear or vice versa. That will not work. Here you see the two HF hard fine nibs. You also do see now these very beautiful sailor nibs, of course, again, and you do see the difference in nib design between the chrome trim and the gold trim, right? It's basically the nib decor, the two-tone nib is sort of inverted. Otherwise, you know, imprint and all that is the same. Feed is the same. That's what it looks like. And then, as said, this is of course a piston filling fountain pen, and sure enough, the cartridge converter right here does open up, and in here you have the proprietary Sailor cartridge or converter sitting in here. Let's align those nibs and do a size comparison. Again, I'm aligning them with the nib and with those two decorative rings right here. And then you see that there's like a minor size difference when they're uncapped of maybe 2 millimeters. Let me bring in a Lamy Safari right here and also line it up on the nib just as a size reference pen so that you get the picture. And I'll do that capped as well. But before, I'll show them to you in hand. This is the ProGear. This is the ProGear Realo. It's a wee bit longer, as said, 3 millimeters. Some people say that they find a ProGear comfortable. It's a quite beefy pen, but some say they find it a bit too short. If it's just a tad too short for you, you may want to try your luck with the Realo, because that Realo is just that tad longer right here. As said, 3-4 millimeters. It's not a big difference, but it may make a difference for you. Let me cap the pens again and put them against the Lamy Safari, just for you to get a picture. I'm aligning them with the cap for now. Oh, rolling away. That's kind of in line, and this is the Lamy Safari. Get the picture? Maybe you want to see those two posted. Let me do that. All in for you guys. Going the extra mile here. I'd say we're back at our like 2 or 3 millimeters difference in length. Guys, that was that with that review. I'm now not going to do a writing sample because that nib performs the same as this nib here. There is no difference, and I've reviewed that pen. So if you want to see a writing sample of that pen, just go to scribbly.org, go to the search window, search for Sailor ProGear, and you'll find the writing sample of what a ProGear, full-size ProGear with a 21 karat fine gold nib writes. That was that with that comparative review. Again, thanks much to La Couronne du Comte in the Netherlands for enabling this comparative review for you guys. If those comparative reviews are really as useful to you as I think they are, or as I've heard that they are. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to do more of those comparative reviews where I get my hands on such pens. Thanks much for watching, and I'll see you guys around. Ciao, ciao.